Friends, fans, family. Friends, family, fans. Can't even get the intro right yet. What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Back 9 Bets, episode 55, presented to you by rotoballer.com. Go check out rotoballer.com right now and use code MANIAC for 10% off. If not for my stuff, for Spencer's. He's the man. He's been cooking with gas. But you know what? We made some money last week. It's not, if you're a regular listener to this show, you know that that's not been the case for the last hot minute, but things are turning around. Our Engage 8 principle, where we had 8 outrights going into the match play, one from each quarter, quadrant, bracket, what you might call it. We made our Engage 8 through. 3 of our guys made it through to the Sweet 16. Eric Darbo in the house. Yo, yo, yo. What's up, brother Bear? How we doing? We made our guys made it through. We had 8 guys in. 3 of them, Matt Kuchar, Max Homer, and Lucas Herbert, made it through to the Sweet 16. And then were promptly escorted from the ball because they never made it to the Elite 8. All 3 of them just took a fat L Saturday morning. It was not good. I'm assuming one of the guys that knows the story already is going to listen to it, but I'm going to give it to you. I was playing golf on Saturday morning in Iowa in March. If you can golf in Iowa in March, play golf. So off I go, take my fat ass to the golf course. I'm playing with my buddy. We play the first 9 holes. Things are going well. We're playing match play because that's the spirit that you want to get into. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to check my phone. Play our 9 holes. After 9 holes, I check my phone. And all 3 of my guys are out, or at least looking like they're going to be very much done. Promptly thereafter, he hits his shot, playing match play, and he hits his shot to 4 feet for eagle. And I proceed to just lose my stuff. It was just a brutal moment. There's a lot more details involved there, but a club went flying into the golf cart from far away. A beer can was kicked and toes were hurt. So just know all of that. But we survived and we're here. I did land up winning. Birdied 17 and bogeyed 18 to tie the match of the hole, and we are going. We won. That's all that matters. Golfing in March is the way to go. I love golfing in March. So that's just a little tidbit of what's going on. It's been a rough go. So we're drinking some Neon Beer Hugs. If you're watching on the pod, on YouTube, Neon Beer Hug IPA is one of my favorites. They're yum. Quite potent too. Good for the soul. It's the Valero Texas Open, folks. That's what we're here for. And this podcast is sponsored by rotoballer.com. Go check out Rotoballer, folks. That's all I have to tell you now. All the tools, all the articles. I'll be throwing out a Rainmaker article this evening. That'll probably come out tomorrow morning. We are all about Rainmakers here. I love Rainmakers. That is the shizness. It's the new hot thing. If you want to check out Rainmakers and you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out my pod I did yesterday with Joel, and then check out the one before that, the week before with Mike. We did 2 Rainmaker podcasts, and we go through all of the basics and a little bit more nuanced stuff. So if you want to know about that stuff, go check that out. Those are some great episodes to kind of get you up to speed in Rainmaker's world. It's fun stuff. It's very addicting. Don't let the missus know what you're up to, or do. Transparency is always key. That's what we preach here. So what's going on at the Valero Texas Open this week? We've got ourselves TPC San Antonio. It's a par something. I don't even know what the par is, but it is what it is. We've got some correlations going on here where strokes gained around the green is highly correlated to success compared to tour average, about 4% more important than tour average. We've also got strokes gained approach being pretty normal, a slight 2% less than tour average, as well as every other metric apart from distance, which is about 10% less than tour average. I mean, last year we even had a negative correlation to distance, which is interesting. It means that the further you hit it, the more trouble you were in, which doesn't quite make sense, but that proves your point that you don't necessarily need to hit it a million miles off the tee. And as long as you just keep your ball in play at these fairways, you're good to go. Even accuracy, not that big of a deal. So just general off the tee. If you can gain strokes off the tee, that's all that matters. So I'm just mumbling about off the tee stuff here because it doesn't really make sense that you can have a negative correlation, but that is what it is. So that's what's going on there. From a approach proximity standpoint, We want golfers that exceed expectations from 250 and out. We've got 4 par 5s, so it's a par 72. There we go. Figuring out the math as we go. 4 par 5s, they are 4 of the 6 easiest holes on the golf course. They are the only, there's 6 holes that are above 20% birdie averages, and then the other 12 are all under 16%. So you need to dominate the par 5s. And that's why 250 plus and out is a very important stat this week. We've also got important numbers that come from 125 to 200 as always. That's just a basic sample that you're always going to see on most golf courses. So that's basically what's cooking over there on the approach side of things. We've got 2022 stats for 44%. We got 2023 for 44 and 2022 for 56. We've got course history, high correlation for course history at this venue. You have to make sure that if you are picking guys that have played here many times, if they've played here well in the past, they are going to play well again, most likely, for the most part. Rule of thumb. We've also got recent form for 10% for 2023, and then we've got official World Golf ranking for 10% there. For our total stats package, we've got 12% approach for baseline, 5% for 2023, and then we've got all the proximity numbers we just spoke about on the previous screen to divvy up, prorate them, and get ourselves to about 36% total approach this week, 5% for strokes gained putting, 7% from 5 to 15 feet, because the green and regulation rates at this venue are not as high as to average, quite lower actually. So you need to have good around the green play, and you need to be able to sink your putts from 5 to 15 feet. If you think about where chip's going to be, most likely 5 to 15 feet, unless you are very bad around the greens. Then you need better putting. And then we want just people that are putting nicely for the last 24 rounds, and then strokes gained around the green for 16 total percent there. So we've got a lot of short game going on because the par 5s are in particular going to need some short game because you need to scramble around the greens. You're not going to hit every single par 5 green, but you're going to come close. And then these other green in regulation percentages are pretty low. So you want good scramblers, good guys around the green, good putters. Birdie percentages, not that high. We've got that incorporated into the par 5 average. If you're going to be throwing a bunch of birdie percentages in here, it doesn't quite make sense because the birdie rates on all the majority of these holes are all on the par 5s is where the majority of it comes from. So you want to make sure that your birdie percentages are par 5 scoring instead of birdie average. That's what I'm just kind of rolling with. So we still got like 3% in there, but 7% for bogey avoidance because the other holes are quite difficult, and we want to make sure that that's the case. Recent off the tee, 2023 stats, we want that the last 24 rounds, 5%, and then specialized off the tee stuff. If you are solid on driving the ball on courses that are 7,400 yards plus, we want you. That's kind of what I'm going with for 5%. But as we saw off the tee, not really that important here this week, but we still want at least 10% worth of stuff in our models. And this is the model. Let's take a peek. We've got ourselves a Tyrrell Hatton sitting at the top of the model. 1 number ranking, 10,900 smacks, looking as he's going to be quite chalky at 23%. Those around him, not as much. You know, we got a Hideki Matsuyama sitting there at 10,500, and he's going to be 8% owned potentially. So keep an eye on the Hideki ownership. You know, we'll get to him here in a little bit, but he's obviously red for a reason. So Tyrrell Hatton, what about his game is getting him to be the most expensive golfer in the model, in the slate, and why is his ownership sitting at 23%? Because he's just so freaking solid. He leads the field in recent performances, so he's the best golfer over the last 24 rounds entering this week, sitting there in first. He plays medium golf courses well. He plays easy golf courses well. 3rd and 9th in both of those departments. He's a really good putter, and he's typically kind of tidy around the greens, although that's kind of gone a little pear-shaped recently. He's very good at putting from 9 to 15 feet, which is ideal at this venue. And the par 5 scoring is 9th in the field. So there's not a lot that really sticks out about Tyrrell. You know, he's the number 1 golfer in the model, but he's also not necessarily, I don't know if he's a million miles ahead of everybody else. I want to see the power rankings just so we can see what's cooking, but I don't think he is. He's sitting at 1.8 power ranking, which Chris Kirk is 1.59. So he's not that far behind. He's got a bit of a gap, but it's not necessarily nearly as significant. So just know that when you're looking at Tyrrell, he's not necessarily leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. He's solid, but he's not that solid. Like a Chris Kirk at $9,300. You never know. He could be quite an easy replacement for Tyrrell at $1,600 salary savings. So that's what's going on there. Tyrrell is also coming off a minor hand injury that we assume / think / he may have confessed to having happened to him on the driving range at the match play, which to me is if you spit and kick the grass that you make your living off of and swear at it and cuss at it and flip at the bird, it's going to bite back. That turf monster is coming for you, boy. And it got him. It got him on the range. So Tyrrell hurt his hand on the range and proceeded to lose his next 3 matches. So that's what's cooking with Tyrrell's world. He's going to potentially, there's no signs that he's unhealthy. He must have made a full recovery from that. He played 3 rounds of golf. It doesn't seem like it was that big of a deal. He is a very dramatic player. He's a very dramatic golfer, dramatic individual. As you know, if you've listened to the show many times, I'm not the biggest fan of Tyrrell Hatton. I don't really like his personality. It doesn't appeal to me. But he's the best golfer in the field, and that's what we're going for there. So if you want to grab Tyrrell Hatton at $10,900, you go ahead and do that. He's most likely going to be quite popular, but we've also got Ricky Fowler in the field. So that's something we can chat about. It's interesting. So Tyrrell, he's got one of the highest top 40 rates in the field too. He's sitting at 69% in his 16 starts. So he's typically going to be getting you a top 40. And for Eric Darbo in the chat, he's finishing inside the top 20 about 31% of his starts since we've recorded all of this stuff. So in the last 16 times, he's sitting there around about 4 or 5 of the starts. He's finishing inside the top 20. So that's what you like to see from Tyrrell. And he's been peaking lately. So all of that stuff's good. The approach play, the ball striking is all super solid. What is he going to get up to with the putter? We don't know. He's a solid player. I've got nothing against the guy as a golfer, a lot against him as a human. Chris Kirk is second in the model, and we want to chat about him. We got a lot more nicer things to say about Chris Kirk. We'll take a sip of the Neon Beer Hug here before we get into that. But Chris Kirk's sitting in $9,300, 17% owned, and he's second in the model. What about Chris Kirk? Yes, I don't know, Darbo, if I can get behind a guy who fights with the turf monster. You never want to fight the turf monster. He's bigger than you. He's always it's like death taxes and fighting the turf monster. Can't avoid it, especially if you're Tyrrell Hatton. So that's what's cooking there. Chris Kirk, 31-1 on FanDuel for an outright. He just won the Honda. Not a similar kind of a golf course, but a golf course that's plays to a similar kind of difficulty. We haven't necessarily seen the scores be ridiculously low around here, definitely under the 20s. Chris Kirk isn't going to be one of those guys that tears up a birdie fest. But he's 19th in bogey avoidance, not necessarily the best par 5 scorer, 71st in par 5 scoring, which a little bit of a concern. But if you take a look at what Chris Kirk has been up to in the last 24 rounds, he is 8th in approach, 11th in ball striking. Around the green, he's 24th. He's very tidy around the greens. And he's putting over the last 24 rounds, 21st. So all the metrics have been pretty solid for Chris Kirk. His driving problem, where it's sitting in 39th over the last 24 rounds, is most likely due to distance. And I went and took a look at Chris Kirk's driving strokes gained off the tee at this venue. He's played here 8 times. And he has gained in the last 7 appearances at TPC San Antonio, he's gained off the tee, which is awesome. So he feels this golf course quite nicely. He's got a great course history. I think he's got 2 top 10s in his last 4 starts. A lot to like about Chris Kirk. His putting is also remarkably improved. It's really, really starting to come around, and that is something that Chris Kirk has always struggled with. His around the green play has always been pretty solid. He's 6th in baseline around the green play, but 46th in putting. Now, coming over the last 24 rounds, they're pretty much level pegging, which is things, you're looking for things like that. And he's 31st, 31-1 to do what we want him to do. And I'm just realizing we have an actual top 20 bet on him that I've hidden from ourselves here. So let's unhide some stuff and keep searching for what we actually want to tell you. There we go. We got all sorts of random stuff that you guys need to ignore. We don't want to like get away any trade secrets here. And also half the stuff doesn't even make sense. But yeah, is Chris Kirk's odds. Plus 155. for a top 20 on FanDuel, folks. Chris Kirk. How many times has he finished inside the top 20? 21% of the time. He's also the second best golfer in the field. So everything about his game is just trending in the right direction. We're going to get plus 155 for a guy to do what he's done 50% of the time in the last 4 starts that he's played this golf course. So I'm fine with that. Sign me up for Chris Kirk at plus 155 and 31-1 to win this golf tournament. He's just won the Honda. So he's no longer like, oh, can I even win a tournament? No, he's going to be winning tournaments now, most likely. Hopefully it's this week. Because this guy's, his game's trending. He's got the mental fortitude now, to quote Paul Azinger. He's got all that stuff going in his way. So love to see that going on with Chris Kirk. Let's go. Easy courses, medium courses, all inside the top 20. So everything about Chris Kirk's great. The weighted approach proximities, when you prorate each distance out so that like the 125 to 200 is more weighted in there. If you take that, his approach play gets better at this golf course from 20th in general approach play to 15th in weighted proximities. So that's what's going on with Chris Kirk's game. We love him. Sign us up for Chris Kirk. $9,300 in DraftKings. Let's go. All day. Third in the model, Hideki Matsuyama. Oh boy. He's in red. If you're watching, he's in red. If you're listening, I'm telling you now, this guy's name is bright red. He's going to be 8% owned, potentially, maybe less. $10,500 in DraftKings. And the model suggested Hideki Matsuyama for a top 20 at plus 138. That's at Bet Rivers. We told the model, I'm your daddy. I made you. So I know what's going on with the model. And we know when it's misbehaving, when it's going out of line. And with Hideki Matsuyama, it's got a bit of a situation. Doesn't know that Hideki's got a neck issue. Hideki just withdrew from the match play last week. He let Max Homer just have a freebie, which is not ideal. We needed Max Homer to have another round so he could kind of build up that momentum, which he obviously never had at any moment during the week. And that is what it is. So that kind of sucked from Max Homer and Hideki's perspective. Now he's just going to go tee it up a week later. Still got a niggly neck. So what we have done, if you go and read my rotoballer.com Breaking 100 article, I had a bit of a real talk in there. Yes, I had a nice little express my feelings of how things have been going. And then we also have a matchup for Hideki Matsuyama. He is a definite potential candidate to withdraw from this event. And Taylor Montgomery is sitting here at 7th in the model at a 57% top 40 rate, which if you look at all of the top 40, top 20, top 10 percentages for Hideki Matsuyama versus Taylor Montgomery, Taylor has him pegged. He's way more consistent. Now, can Taylor Montgomery ever win a golf tournament? No, but that's why you bet him in a matchup, because he's most likely going to finish inside the top 20. He's done that 50% of the time. If you go to FanDuel, bet that matchup, it's minus 112. It's basically even money. You bet $11.20 to win 10. There's a good chance Hideki withdraws from this event. And then Taylor Montgomery can miss the cut. He can finish last, and your matchup cashes. So that the model isn't telling us to bet, like, why would you bet a guy that's power ranked below another guy? Well, there's a good chance with the Masters coming up next week, Hideki Matsuyama withdraws at some point during this event. If you withdrew during a match play event where you might not even just have to play 18 holes, you can even just play 14. This week, do you think he's going to really want to play 4 rounds of solid golf going into the Masters, knowing that he's got a niggly neck? So we out on Hideki Matsuyama. If that ownership goes all the way the hell down to like under 5% maybe, then you've got yourself a leverage opportunity and you've got yourself a hedge situation. If you've bet that matchup, awesome. Taylor Montgomery is most likely, hopefully, going to finish inside the top 40 again. I mean, he's done it 80% of his starts in the 14 that we've recorded here. We'll see what he can get up to. So we like that. You're going to hedge your bets there. And then if Hideki somehow plays spectacularly, you've got a 5% Hideki that's going to be sitting inside the top 10. Because if he's playing well, he's going to play well. This golf course kind of suits his around the green play, the ball striking, not that big of an emphasis on putting like birdie putts in. He's a great scrambler. So that's what's going on with Hideki. That's how we're approaching him this week. Fade the cheeses out of him in the betting market, but if you can get some leverage on him in DFS, why the heck not? Matt Kuchar, next up in the model, 4th, sitting at 1.52 power ratings. The model suggested us to bet Matt Kuchar at plus 140 on DraftKings for a top 20. Matt Kuchar, friends and family, has made 10 consecutive cuts at this venue. 7 of them have been T25s or better, I believe. I want to just double check because I might be absolutely lying to your faces if that is the case. But Matt Kuchar's track record at this venue, folks, is phenomenal. His last 3 starts have been spectacular when it comes to the Valero Texas Open. He's just a maestro around TPC and San Antonio. So we're going to pull up his track record here real quick and tell you. The last start, he finished 2nd. 2021, 12th. 2019, 7th. And I was not lying. 7 out of his last 10 starts have been top 25s at this golf course. You're going to give me plus 140 to bet a guy that's done this stuff 70% of the time over the last 10 years? And Matt Kuchar, if you go look at his ball striking stats for 2023, he is sitting better than he was on approach all the way back to 2019. And he's sitting better than he was off the tee. What I'm trying to say is the last year that he had better off the tee and ball striking numbers was in 2019 and 2017 on approach and off the tee. So he is back to hitting the golf ball well. Like he's been kind of off kilter a little bit. Now he's cooking with gas. Got our boy Zach Park in the house. What's up, my brother? Flex. Let's go. We are cooking with gas with Matt Kuchar. He's a 35-1 outright on DraftKings when that dropped. Threw that in the Discord for Rotoballer there, because if you want to follow all my picks, you can go 18 events without a winner. That's what we do over there for me. But if you want to grab the Rotoballer Discord, go and check out Spencer. He's the guy you want to follow until further notice. But I think Matt Kuchar, friends, I think Matt Kuchar's the guy this week. Plus 140 for a top 20. That to me just seems like shit. You might just drop 2 units on that stuff because he's been doing it and he's playing so solid. And the beauty about Matt Kuchar is he's a sticky horse. The guy's a pony drenched in molasses, friends. Just whenever you play Matt Kuchar at a golf course he's played well at in the past, he's always typically going to play well there again. You don't play him at courses he doesn't play well at. You play him at courses he has played well at. He plays well at those courses that he plays well at. You get the point here. Like, this is what he does. When he has good course history, he typically performs. And his course history at this venue is 10th in the field. I mean, how can you not have good course history when you've made 10 consecutive cuts at this venue, 7 of them inside the top 25? 3 of them, the last 3, inside the top 12. Like, hello. It's go time for Matt Kuchar to win this goddamn tournament. It's go time. Now, why does he play well here? Well, he's the second best around the greens. That's what Matt Kuchar does at this venue. Second best around the greens. Everything about his game here makes the world of sense. Just completely and utterly dismantles this golf course. It's so beautiful to watch him do his thing. Like he's so tidy when it comes to short game. His around the green play is so nice, and he's typically very consistent off the tee. You know, like he doesn't have a lot of length, but he's very, very tidy. His good drives gained for Matt Kuchar, 9th in the field. Like, hello, like that's exactly what you want at this golf course. Consistency. Keep yourself out of the trouble. Keep yourself in play. And my favorite thing I like about Matt Kuchar is when there's a lack of water on a golf course, Matt Kuchar can scramble fried eggs, ostrich eggs, duck eggs, hippopotamus eggs, any eggs you want, he can scramble and get up and down. It's go time for Matt Kuchar. When you put your ball in the water, it's bogey central. When you're hitting it in out of the Texas rough, Matt Kuchar can get up and down all day. So I love that about him. If you take a look at his par 5 scoring, it's 22nd in the field. Guys, 120th in distance. His par 5 scoring is 22nd. So that's nice. We know par 5 scoring is essential, yeah? The guy's a wedge magician, and his short game's super tidy. If he gets anywhere around the green, he's getting up and down for birdie, and his bogey avoidance rate is 5th. So on those tough, difficult holes, he's not going to be making too many bogeys, potentially always looking at a chip for birdie or a birdie putt. So everything about Kuchar makes the world of sense to me this week. Plus 140 for a top 20, 35-1 to freaking take down the Valero Texas Open. He finished second year last year. Let's go one better. He doesn't have a Masters berth yet. If he wins this week, he'll make it to Augusta, where I think he'll be left behind the pack because that's all about distance off the tee there, and who the heck knows if Cooch. But he's also, he's also pretty solid on the par fives. So we'll see what he gets up to. Hopefully Cooch can make it to Augusta. Siwoo Kim, 5th in the model. Plus 125 for a top 20. The model couldn't quite get us there. He's probably one of the lowest. He is one of the lowest odds that we found for the top 20 out of everyone. Yeah. So the top 20 market really likes him. 21% of the time in 24 starts, he finishes inside the top 20. For Siwoo, his ball striking is coming along hot and heavy, folks. 19th in the field. We like what we see from Siwoo there. It's okay. The approach plays kind of whittled off a little bit since the win at the Sony, but also we've come through the Florida swing. You never know exactly what's going on. Things can get a little out of control in the Florida swing with lots of water. So check out what's going on with Siwoo there. Just always make sure that you're double checking those Florida swing numbers. What about Siwoo's game do we really like? From a long-term perspective, the guy's a good drive machine. He's always going to be putting himself in a good position off the tee and giving himself good approach shots into the green. And his weighted proximity numbers, 2nd in the field. Hello. If you're looking at a golf course built perfectly for him, who's first? Satoshi Kodaira, who's a sample size menace. So basically, Siwoo Kim is the best approach player from these specified approach numbers that you want to look at TPC San Antonio. The putter, baseline 107th. Putter, recently over the last 24 rounds, 22nd. That's been Siwoo's biggest dilemma. And now he's got on the broomstick and he's putting like Harry Potter, boys. So we like Harry. Oh, we like Harry. We like Siwoo. See Harry Woo Kim, and see what he can get up to. 26% ownership, $9,700. Obviously, everybody's a big fan of Siwoo at this price range. At this golf course, he's also got a pretty good course history, sitting 9th in the field in total strokes gained since 2018. So that's what's cooking with Siwoo. Nothing not to like there. Love what he's up to. The top 10 rate could be a little bit better. He's going to give you a nice floor, but the upside there with Siwoo is interesting. So maybe, at that kind of ownership, you could potentially, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you to fade Siwoo, but at 26%, if you're telling me in the last 24 rounds, he's only finished inside the top 10 4% of the time, what's that? 10% is 2.5. So 5% of that is he's finished inside the top 10 once in the last 24 rounds. Like, what's that about? And that might have been his win at Sony. So yeah, that's what's going on there for 26% Siwoo. Maybe we'll have to, like plus 125 for a top 20. That seems ideal because 20% of the time he's inside the top 20 and he's trending in the right direction. So maybe go better top 20 and leave him out of your lineups if you're playing some big GPPs. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you exactly, but I might leave Siwoo out, especially at that kind of ownership. We'll play like Kucha. Like if you're going to tell me Kucha versus Siwoo, I think Kucha's course history is more than enough to play him over Siwoo at $500 cheaper as well. So that's what's cooking there. Corey Connor, 6th in the model, $10,100 on DraftKings, 20% ownership. He's got the 2nd best course history here. So he plays nicely. He's also 3 times more likely to finish inside the top 10 than Siwoo is. And he's 6% less than Siwoo and $400 more. So that's fine. Corey Connors is plus 120 to finish inside the top 20. His recent ball striking is kind of beautiful. I mean, the last 24 rounds, it's 3rd in the field. Off the tee, the guy's just a model of consistency. And then around the green play and putting is just where it gets shaky for the big old Canadian. But we just saw him come from a match play situation where he played pretty well. He lost to Cameron Young. I don't know if he won all of his matches outside of that, but to lose to Cameron Young in match play is like basically breathing air. It's inevitable. And we know he plays well, yeah. So he's kind of moving in the right direction. I don't mind playing him at all in DFS. I love what he's got up to recently at this place. The par 5 scoring is 16th, the bogey avoidance is 10th, and the birdie rate's 23rd. So there's a lot to like about Corey Connors at this venue. He's just so solid and consistent. So if you can handle the around the green play and the putting, that's been a bit of a Blair situation lately. And in general, just knowing that the course history and his ball striking repertoire is enough to avoid having that derail him. Sign me up for Corey Connors at 20% ownership, $10,100. Let's freaking go. Taylor Montgomery, 7th in the model. Couldn't quite get to his top 20 rate, but that's close. We were 3 if it was 143 for a top 20, plus 143 for a top 20, which he's done 50% of his starts, Taylor Montgomery. 50% of his starts, Taylor Montgomery's finished inside the top 20, which is incredible. He is $9,900, 16% owned. So we're getting back to Taylor Montgomery after talking about him with Hideki. Montgomery, I'm never, ever going to bet this guy to win a tournament. I'm never. Like, I've seen enough. We saw he was in contention at the Amex. Got to hole 17, water. Drenched it on the island green. Went from being in contention to like outside the top 10 with 2 holes to go. Then guys making hundreds and thousands of dollars gets to another island green 17th hole at TPC Sawgrass. Hits one in the water, drops it on the green, chips it into the water. So Taylor Montgomery is actually 34th in the field in baseline around the green play. Chips the ball into the water on the 17th green and flies outside of the top 20 there. So you want to play Taylor Montgomery in Showdown if he's sitting outside the top 20 going into round 4. Anytime he's near the top of the leaderboard, I want to preach and pray to you. Avoid him at all costs in Showdown. And never bet the guy to win a golf tournament. I'm not sure he's ever going to do it, or at least not pre-tournament. If you want to bet like a Taylor Montgomery 35-1 or 50-1 going into a Sunday when he's sitting 25th, like 3 or 4 or 5 shots back, then that's go time. No pressure. The guy can go lights out. He is one of, I'll quote myself again, he's one of the most talented golfers on the planet, but he's one of the worst competitors in the world. Like, you saw this in the playoff for match play. After losing 6-4 in his 3rd round, when the Heat, all he had to do was win that event, win that round, win that matchup against some, I can't remember who, he lost 6-4. Then he goes into a playoff and he duffs a 3-wood off the tee after being on the range for half an hour. You can't tell me he was cold. You can't tell me anything. Like, the problem with him is he just melts under pressure. He's just like a piece of butter, like it's very bad, but he's got incredible upside and he's got amazing round by round potential. And as you can see, the top 20 rates, top 40 rates, are fantastic. So Taylor Montgomery, that's my tidbit there. Had to talk a lot about him. We'll go to Brendan Todd instead. He's sitting 2 completely very different golfers. One not nearly as long as the other off the tee. $7,900 for Brendan Todd, 13% owned projected. He is plus 240 on FanDuel to finish inside the top 20. The model loves that. Plus 58 points in value there for Brendan Todd. Sign us up. Coming into the event, he's got the 9th best recent form. The course history for Brendan Todd, 21st. That's fine. Nice, solid course history. Doesn't play very badly here. The ball striking, nothing to really write home about, but oh my. The guy is just a short game wizard. 6th around the green last 24, 14th in putting, total of short game, 5th in the field. So everything about him screams play me. Accuracy, 4th in the field, sign me up. Putting from 5 to 15 feet, 3rd in the field. Hello. Bogey avoidance rate, 16th. So guy's got doesn't have the best opportunity to win this event, but for a top 20 at plus 240, sign me the hell up for Brendan Todd. He's doing that 22% of the time he plays in his tournaments. And I think Todd plays in quite difficult events. He's been playing in a few of the elevated events, things like that. So I like a course that kind of suits his short game here. We saw earlier in the key stats, you have to have good around the green play. Brendan Todd is one of the best around the green in this field. So that's exactly what we're doing. We bet Brendan Todd for a top 20 at plus 240. Hello. Sign us the hell up. Flex City on Brendan Todd. Next up, Ricky Fowler, 9th in the model. 2nd best strokes gained total entering the week of the last 24 rounds. $10,200 and 25% owned projections. Projected ownership of 25% for Ricky Fowler. Ricky Fowler, folks. We're talking about Ricky Fowler inside the top 10 of a model. This is like the first time this has ever happened. Hello. And apparently he's the 2nd most popular player in the field. So that makes a lot of sense. And that's the thing. When you get people like Jordan Spieth, when you get people like Ricky Fowler, In DFS, I'm not entirely sure how you want to approach that because there are other alternatives, like a Corey Connors. I feel like, if you're going to get an ownership discount and $100 savings in salary, I mean, the salary savings is not that big of a deal, but from a discounted ownership perspective, Taylor Montgomery, Corey Connors, I feel like they provide you the same floor at least. I mean, Ricky's been playing much better golf lately, but also, like, is this guy going to win a tournament? I don't know. It's anytime he gets into contention, it seems like it gets a little haywire for him too. So I'm okay kind of skipping out on him. I'll go with the tried and tested Corey Connors. I'll go with the tried and tested Taylor Montgomery in DFS. A quarter of you can keep Ricky Fowler in your lineups. I think that's totally fine. I like other guys. I'll play Tyrrell Hatton. I prefer him over Ricky Fowler, just the way he's been playing, if I were to pick between those two. But I'm really liking Corey Connors and Taylor Montgomery. This whole $10,100 range and down is where I like to live in DFS this week. So that's what's cooking there. Ricky, what on earth has he been up to? The ball striking, holy cow. 5th on approach, folks. Ricky's looking sexy on approach there, but the around the green play for old Rickster is 72nd in the field. Going to a course like this, his course history is 18th in the field. Okay, I get it. DFS sweet spot, Darbo, my boy. I'll eat the 25% chalk for Ricky, and I'll like it. Hey, buddy, you know me and you. We've always had our chalk differences and things like that. But if you're going to find a guy, I'm going to go with the other two. I like them. Ricky, and 25% on Ricky might not even be it. It might be closer to 30. Everybody loves Ricky Fowler. I love Ricky Fowler. I'm not going to play him though. Like maybe I'm being a dumbass, but shout out to Red Foreman. But Ricky Fowler at 25% ownership with that kind of around the green play. I mean, the putting has been great. We have mentioned though, like if there's a glaring deficiency in a person's game, and I mean, but he's typically a really good around the green player too. He's like baseline's 28. So I'm not entirely sure what the hell to make of this guy. Also off the tee, but we mentioned it. That's the least important stat out of them all. I mean, there's like literally a negative correlation last year. So maybe I'll come around. Maybe Darbo can talk some sweet nothings into my ear on his show. If you are not watching Sweet Spot DFS on YouTube, go and check that out. It's one of my favorite shows to watch. Eric's a great guy and talks about a wonderful strategy that he's got going on over there. Next up, outside the top 10, we got Alex Noren, sitting at 9%, $8,800. No course history here. Enters the week with the 8th best total strokes gained, and his off the tee is hot garbage, which is totally fine. We've mentioned negative correlations for one of the years. So off the tee, not that big of a deal. On approach, 34th in the field, and he's the 4th best putter coming into the week of the last 24 rounds. Plays medium golf courses inside the top 20, and he is super solid from 5 to 15 feet. Bogey avoidance rate is 9th in the field, so you love to see that from him. And par 5 scoring of 30th ranking, which is not too shabby either. A little par 5 ranking of 30th for a guy that's under 10% and $8,800. That's the first 8K guy that we've actually spoken about. We've got Brendan Todd sitting all the way up here at $7,900, which is really peculiar. So we love to see that from him. And we're going to keep going. I'm not entirely sure. It's telling me I got some internet issues, so hopefully everything still sounds okay on your side. But if not, I'm not sure if there's anything I can really do about that. So Thomas Dietrich, he's next up. Oh, and Alex Noren was a suggested top 20 play at plus 220. So we're going to go there, actually. The model's telling us to bet him. And if you take a look, he's also probably one of the better top 20 rate golfers. In his 21 starts that we have in our database, a quarter of the time he's inside the top 20, and this field is not nearly as loaded as okay, good. Thanks, Sia. Sound amazing. I know I sound amazing, but how's the quality? We got some, where the heck were we? Yeah, we were talking about Alex Noren and his top 20 rates. Everything about his game screams, sign me up. Yeah, 31st around the green recently, 31st around the green baseline. Let's go. Lots to like about Alex Noren. The bogey avoidance rate there is fantastic. So sign us up for a top 20 at plus 220. Yeah, let's go. Let's go, Alex Noren. The only issue is off the tee, and we've established that that's not that big of a deal. And then another, Taylor Montgomery's twin brother from Belgium is Thomas Dietrich. Also, another dude who incredible golfer, great skill set. Not sure he's ever going to win a tournament. And look, I haven't hit an outright in 18 events, but I'm not betting Taylor Montgomery or Thomas Dewey to win it. I just think they have what it takes to win a tournament. But if you take a look at Thomas Dietrich's 14 starts on the PGA Tour, and this is excluding the Corales Punta Cana, which isn't in the actual PGA Tour database that they have. That can even push his top 40 rate into the 80% mark. So Thomas Dietrich is one of the safest players you can find, but he's never going to win a golf tournament. So at plus 220 for a top 20 at this golf course, sign me the hell up. Let's freaking go. Look at this. Around the green, 15th of the last 24 rounds. Let's go there. Weighted approach play, 23rd. Ball striking beast. The par 5 scoring for Dietrich seems like is that even correct? Is it 115th? I'll have to double check, but that just doesn't seem right. I mean, you can't be that bad on the par 5s, Thomas. Whew. We'll have to double check that one. But go check it out for yourselves. I'll tell you that it might be a model maniac miss situation. But everything else that game screams sign me up with this, especially the short game, especially around the green. Look at the medium course scoring. Hello. Signs up for a top 20 plus 220. Ben Griffin is 225, 225 for a top 20. Couldn't quite get the model, but we like him a lot. From a DFS perspective, I think we'll go a little bit talk in the situation there. He's someone I don't mind going to that. He's also super that safety rating of his, 81st field. He makes 81% of the time he's making the cuts. 63% of the time he's inside the top 40. Quarter percent of them. 25% of the time he's inside the top 20. So maybe if you can find yourself a that's close to enough money, it's good. Stuff going on. I'm going to keep watching. Okay. Testing. So it looks like my Wi-Fi dropped. If you are in the comments and you can hear me, please let me know. I'm back now. It looks like something's going on, but I managed to get back online. I don't know if this is actually working or not. The timer's rolling. I could log back on the internet. I don't even know if can I even play a video. What a mess. Got all sorts of stuff going on here, folks. Pull up Sweet Spot DFS here. Yeah, I mean, we got stuff going. All right. Loud and clear. Let's freaking roll. Okay. Talk about a bit of a landslide there. Let's get ourselves fired back up. I don't even remember where we were. I black out when I do this stuff. So it is what it is. Let's get back in the business here. Back in the business. We're talking about Dietrich and Griffin. Yeah, okay, Griffin. Guy's just floors, like his floor is the ceiling, basically. It's way up there. Love him. DFS, let's freaking go. And he's the best scrambler in the field. Around the green, first, last 24 rounds. Baseline, 25th. Birdie, he makes a ton of birdies, and his bogey avoidance rate is 21st in the field. Let's freaking go. If the Wi-Fi craps out on me again, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. This is what you get when it's sunny in Iowa in March. Next up, Robbie Shelton. We took a chance on Robbie Shelton a little bit ago, and he was also at the same kind of a price. I think it was at the Valspar. We took a top 20 shot at Robbie Shelton to finish inside the top 20 at plus 300 and something, plus 350, I think. This week, we get Robbie Shelton for a top 20 at plus 330. What has Robbie Shelton got up to? He's doing it 20% of the time. He's inside the top 20. And half the time, he's inside the top 40. So if you take that top 40 rate of his and you kind of shift it a little bit to the top 20s, because this field is, not necessarily the best in the world, I love that bet. Plus 330 on FanDuel for a Robbie Shelton top 20, which he does 1 in every 5 times. And this weaker field is going to definitely help him. Robbie Shelton around the green, 17th. His biggest issues, off the tee and putting. Very bad. Outside the top 100 in both of those categories. One of them doesn't really even matter that much at this venue, is the off the tee stuff, which we can live with. He's 35th in recent ball striking. He's 38th in weighted proximities. He's 5th around the green, baseline around the green. So that's what you love to see. His bogey avoidance rate, 13th. So he's putting, he just misses a bunch and bunches of birdie putts, apparently. So that's what you're going to get with Robbie Shelton. We don't necessarily need him to make a million birdies. We need his par 5 scoring of 45th to get a little bit better. But we like what we're seeing from Robbie Shelton. And we'll take a gamble on him at plus 330. Let's freaking go. He's inside the top 40 about half the time, 53% of the time. Let's go with Robbie Shelton there. I love what we're getting from him. It makes a lot of sense, and he's a great iron player and a great around the green player. So there's going to be lots to like from him on the ball striking front, and hopefully the putter can just deal with itself. I'm definitely going to be playing him at $7,500. Nick Taylor, 14th in the model, our third outright. He is 60-1 to get himself into the winner's circle. What about Nick Taylor do we like? There's not a lot not to like. He comes into the week with the 4th best total strokes gained of the last 24 rounds. That's awesome. So we know his general play is just baller. Like, the guy is just so well-rounded. There's not a single metric here in the last 24 rounds that's worse than 43rd. And that 43rd of strokes gained approach of the last 24 rounds is mainly due to the atrocious 2 rounds he had at the Players. And we know at the Players, we saw, guys, balls in the water everywhere. There's just balls in the water. It's like spring break. It's not an easy golf course. You're going to lose strokes on approach if you're off by a margin. It's tough. He's a really good iron player in general. If you take a look at his weighted approach play for Nick Taylor, 24th in weighted approach. His general approach play is 42nd. It's not terrible stuff. I mean, this is his worst trait, apparently. So 42nd in that department is totally manageable, especially when this guy around the greens is 7th, putting is inside the top 20, and he's just an average driver of the golf ball. Give me an average driver of the golf ball at a golf course that requires average drivers of the golf ball. Sign me the hell up at 60-1. Let's go. So his scoring stats, nothing to really write home about. 46th and 46th in birdie rates and par 5 scoring. But Nick Taylor has just been trending in the right direction. He was just, what I like about Nick Taylor is that if I'm looking for a guy that's going to win a golf tournament, this dude just went toe to toe with Scotty Scheffler. Like, there's no Scotty Scheffler in this week's field. So if he gets and finds himself in contention this week, he's won at Pebble Beach before, so we know he can win. If he finds himself in contention, he can get up to some no good. Like, he's gonna be willing to go toe to toe with whoever is in the mix with him. So sign me up for Nick Taylor there. I have full faith in him if he's in contention. He's got a lot of starts. So like the more starts you have, the less these numbers are gonna really pop as much as guys with like 15 starts. But he's a third of the time he's inside the top 40, which is nice. The top 10 rates at 7%, but 29 starts is a lot. But his recent performances is just fantastic. And his putter has kind of dropped off since the waste management. If that kind of shows back up now that he's in Texas, he played nicely at the match play. Match play is match play. Anything can happen. We saw, like people like that can just absolutely get bounced. But approach play, around the green play, putting, sign me up for Nick Taylor. Let's go. 60-1. And he's $7,600 and 15% owned. So he's one of the highest 7K guys that we got in the field. Yeah. So that's what's cooking there. Mark Hubbard is an interesting character. We've got him at plus 175 for a top 20. Can't quite get there. That actually might be a top 40 bet, I believe. And if that's a top 40 bet, we are going all the way home with Mark Hubbard for a top 40. And I think that is. I think we had Davis Riley in here and then I deleted it. And now, blah, blah. So anyway, Mark Hubbard, plus 175. He finished inside the top 40, 31% of the time. Let's go with Mark Hubbard. Never played in Texas before, not at this golf course, but plays medium golf courses very nicely, which this golf course is a medium golf course. And his baseline approach play is freaking solid. 18th in weighted proximities and 11th in bogey avoidance. So he just, for as weird as a dude as he is, he avoids danger and disaster quite nicely. So we like Mark Hubbard at this golf course, although he's never played here before. The off the tee stuff, not necessarily the best in the world, but that's okay. We've mentioned it's the distance thing. He doesn't necessarily need that much distance. We saw how little distance actually mattered. Just to refresh ourselves, take a look at the distance, 10% less than to average. Not nearly as essential at this venue as you would think. So Mark Hubbard, sign us up for $6,900 Mark Hubbard, 2% owned. Boom, boom, boom. Plus 175 for a top 40. Let's freaking go. JJ Spahn, past winner here. 17% ownership, $8,900. Always half the time he's inside the top 40. Love to see that from him. Recent approach play, blah, blah, blah. Everything about his game looking very nice. We saw what he got up to at match play. Like, the guy had no business winning any of those matches. Makes himself all the way into the Sweet 16 at least. So that's what you like to see from JJ. Guys out there just crushing. And if there's a golfer that played well at match play that hasn't been playing well, we've seen like these team events, we've seen like these competitive spirit-induced events where these competitive juices can really get flowing. It can spark something in a guy. Like, these golfers are so good, and all they need is just one swing thought, one bit of confidence to really get them rolling. JJ going into a week that he's won at this event, I mean, $8,900, you never know. So what about JJ? 14th in bogey avoidance. That's nice. Like to see that. All of that stuff. And it's telling us that we need to go with JJ. So JJ for a top 40, I think that's Mark Hubbard's number. I don't know. This model's kind of gone loopy on me. We'll catch you later, Darbo. Thanks for tuning in, brother. $7,800, Andrew Putnam. Let's talk about him. I think I'm just going to leave JJ out of the top 40. I don't think that's the right number anyway. Andrew Putnam, $7,800, even money for a top 40. We're 19 points shy of value there. So plus 120 would pull the trigger there. What about Andrew Putnam's game do we like? He's one of the best putters in the field. Second best putter outside of Sam Ryder, which we'll get to. But Andrew Putnam's short game also, 25th around the greens. Love to see that. The ball striking for him is always going to be bad because his distance off the tee is hot garbage. But we've saw this golf course doesn't necessarily require that much distance off the tee. So Andrew Putnam at $7,800 is absolutely a game player. We're going to rock and roll with Andrew Putnam. $7,800, let's freaking go. The bogey avoidance rate is 6th in the field. Let's go with that. That's nice. And yeah, that's all you really need to know from Andrew Putnam. Oh, he's also got the 16th best course history here for a guy that's $7,800. So that's what's cooking on Andrew Putnam's side. Sign us up for that. Eric Cole, plus 175 for a top 40. Look at his top 40 rate. 47% of the time he's inside the top 40 in his 15 starts on tour. He's got the 16th best recent form coming into the week. We love a lot about Eric Cole. He's the 21st best approach player of the last 24 rounds. His weighted approach play, not necessarily right there, though. That's the problem with Eric Cole, is he's kind of outperforming his baseline in the proximity kind of things. But par 5 scoring is 6th in the field. Let's go. That, to me, just makes the world of sense. Love the par, like he's one of the best par 5 scorers. And we mentioned, so difficult to make birdies on this golf course outside of the 2 easy par 4s. One of them is drivable. So if you got distance off the tee, that drivable par 4 is going to be nice. He doesn't. But how does he play sometimes the math doesn't make sense. Like, how can you be that short off the tee and dominate par 5s like he does? So we like Eric Cole, plus 175. Let's freaking go there for a top 40. Scooting down the board, Matt Wallace just won at Punta Cana. We know how those Euros go. They probably partied his face off since then. He isn't in the Masters, so maybe he behaved himself because a win here will get him into the Masters. Sam Ryder, though, is the guy we want to talk about. I don't know what I want to do with Matthew Wallace. I don't know what I want to do. He's obviously in great form. We saw him at Valspar. We saw him at Punta Cana. What does he get up to here? Does he manage to keep it rolling, or did he party too hard? At $8,500, 13% ownership, I don't know. That's an interesting situation. But it was tough to find a Matt Wallace for a top 40, minus 135. Couldn't quite get there. So we're just going to not really talk about him that much. It's very short-term form dependent from Matthew Wallace. Sam Ryder, the name of the pod. Ryder to victory. $7,800, 9% owned. 66-1 to win the Valero Texas Open. Matt Ryder. Sam Ryder. 66-1 to win this thing, boys. 66-1. If you take your eye and you find this pink little box here in the putting column over the last 24 rounds, he is first in putting in this field. If you go to Data Golf and you pull up the last 36 rounds of strokes gained and you filter on putting, the name that's going to appear at the top of the worldwide strokes gained is Sam Ryder. And he's gaining 1.3 strokes putting per round over the last 36 rounds. He is the best putter in the world right now. Like, that is a fact. He's gaining putts. He's gaining on the greens so regularly and so often, and it's an unsustainable rate, but he's been doing it for at least 36 rounds. It's been incredible. He's not had a bad round on the greens. It's most likely going to happen this week because that's just how it goes. But if it doesn't, this guy, oh boy. If you take a look at his recent approach plays, 57th in the field recently. But his weighted proximity numbers from a baseline perspective, and if you go and look at what he was doing prior to the last 24 rounds on approach, it was pretty solid. Like right up leading into the Farmers Insurance Open, things were looking good. And then his approach plays kind of whittled off a little bit, but that's also Florida swing induced. There's water everywhere. Now, not as much water, I don't believe, down at this golf course compared to like the Players. He's going to be just fine. He's a really good ball striker. He doesn't have a lot of distance off the tee, not necessarily, but he is the best putter in the field. He's the best putter in the world, and he's 66-1. So we know that anytime your putting can just absolutely crush, like you can gain so many strokes putting. Like it can easily just make up for everything in the world. Like that's all you want to do. At 66-1, we're going to take that gamble. I'm all about him, man. If that ball strike, like think about this. If you're going to get a guy that can be the 17th best iron player in the field, because that's what his baseline is, and then be the best putter in the world when you're the above average approach player, that's a recipe for absolute he's going to win. Like That's what's going to happen here. So if he can get the irons dialed in this week, he's one of the best putters in the world. It's go time. So let's go Sam Ryder, 66-1 to win this freaking golf tournament. And I did a maniac override here for value. I'm betting Sam Ryder for a top 40 at plus money. Plus 100 for a top 40. Let's go on Sam Ryder's side there. The golf is just so good right now. You know, the last 27 starts, he's only 19% of the time he's a top 40. But if you go take a look at his recent form, it's sensational stuff. Sensational stuff. I love Sam Ryder. I can't say enough about how good of a putter he is. Like, he's going he's unnoticed. Like, does anyone else realize that this guy's the best putter in the world right now? Like, he's 1.3 strokes per round, true strokes gained. Like, Maverick McNeely is the second best, and he's gaining 1.1. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. His history here is 90th. He's played terrible here before. But he's the best putter in the world. Even if he just becomes a top 10 putter in this field, like has a bit of regression, we are in business, folks. We are absolutely in business. So that's what we're going to be doing there. Sam Ryder, let's go. Top 40, plus 100, 66-1 to win this event. We had Davis Thompson as another outright. He withdrew. So that's no longer on the board. I'm going to have to find another one. We'll see what we can get up to. Got a few more top 40 plays, though. Ryan Moore. He has got great course history. 7th in the field in course history. Plus 320 for a top 40. Don't you just love big plus numbers for a top 40? Plus 320 for a top 40 for Ryan Moore, who's got the 7th best course history. He loves himself some Texas golf. Loves himself TPC San Antonio. What about his game? Look at his recent approach play. Super solid. The distance off the tee, biggest issue. So nice and accurate off the tee. So that's what you got going there. And he's pretty solid on the par fives. So he can take some par five scoring and go home with that. So I like what he can get up to here. Plus 320 for a top 40. Sign us the hell up. Then we got Benny On. Byung-Hoon On. Plus 160 for a top 40. He's the 23rd ranked golfer in the model. And his top 40 rate is 40%. So at plus 160, that about matches that, probability. And he should suit this golf course to a T. His around the green play is sensational, folks. He's got the best strokes gained baseline around the green, and he's third of the last 24 rounds. So he's not only a very good putter all the time, but he's doing a good chipper and around the green player. He's doing it right now too. So that's what you love to see. If there's a skill that someone's fantastic at, he's the guy. And with the amount of greens these guys are going to be missing this week, Benny On, man, that around the green play is very nice. 38th in strokes gained approach of the last 24 rounds. So that's something nice too. And he's definitely someone you want to consider in DFS. That birdie or better percentages for him are at 6th in the field, folks. So lots to like there. Lots to like. The putter can go rogue on him. The putter can go rogue. 74th in the field there, but we'll see what he can get up to. His biggest weakness is off the tee. And at this golf course, he can potentially get away with that. So we like that about him. Let's see what we can get up to. Martin Laird, the model suggested we should bet him at plus 230. It's tough to go to Martin Laird. What's up? Neil Catamol, my man, in the house. We got Martin Laird here for a plus 230 for a top 40, where Martin Laird's got a course history of 11th in this field. Like, his course history is fantastic, but look at this recent performance. It's very bad. Like, are we going to be okay? I mean, if we were okay with it with Ryan Moore, but also we're getting a whole extra 90 points of odds on Ryan Moore's thing, and he's got a better course history. So I don't know. What has Martin Laird's issue been? It's been everything. Off the tee, approach, like the ball striking's been hot garbage. He's been great around the greens, but the ball striking hasn't been great. So I'm out on Martin Laird. Akshay Bhatia is also a golfer. I don't think he's shown me enough. He's very volatile. In his 4 PGA Tour starts, he's only finished inside the top 40 once. So, maybe he's like an upside play. If you want to bet him outright, do that. But, he's popular yet. $7,000 is 8% owned. So I couldn't quite get there on him. Who else? David Lingworth, plus 175 for a top 40. David Lingworth. Look at this approach play of the last 24 rounds. Hello. Holy catamole, bro. Sixth in the field over the last 24 rounds on approach. He's super accurate off the tee, which is fine, like the distance. If you got a distance deficiency, that's totally okay. Drink again for that. I'll keep preaching that. And then par 5 scoring for David Lingworth is fifth in the field. Like, yeah, let's go. Like we've mentioned, you got to take advantage of those par 5s, and that's what he does. So David Lingworth is definitely going to be on the card here. Plus 175 for a top 40 at FanDuel. Let's go there. And then our final play is going to be EVR, my boy from South Africa, Eric van Rooyen. He's been showing us some nice things on the approach side of things and the ball striking. He's 17th in the field over the last 24 rounds. The short game is poor. It's abysmal. 105th in putting and chipping. Not good. But his iron play is so freaking solid. From all the different proximity ranges, he's 13th in the field. So absolutely love that. And he makes a ton of birdies, and he dominates par 5s inside the top 30 there. So he is a definite candidate for top 40, and we are betting him for a top 42. So EVR, let's freaking go. I like what he can do. Plus 220 for a top 40 from EVR. A few other guys that we might just mention going down the board here. Always going to talk about, Pearson Coody and Cam Davis. Yeah, these are two interesting guys. Cam Davis, if you take a look, unless people are switched on, which they seem like 12% of the people are, this strokes gain total of the last 24 rounds is not going to be that hot. He mentioned he was sick and unhealthy, and things weren't going right for him. But that doesn't make sense why he was putting so badly. But Cam Davis is a really, really impressive golfer who was just playing really poorly for a brief stint of time and then actually started playing some solid golf at match play, solid golf at the Players. A lot to like from Cam Davis. Definitely going to be a consideration for me in DFS at $8,300. Pearson Coody, only 3 events on PGA Tour, and we've seen some spectacular stuff from this dude. $6,900, 2% owned from Pearson. He is, he doesn't have a lot of stats, but his approach play, he's a ball striking beast. We saw him crush it around API. Off the tee, seems like his issue. That's okay here. Drink again for off the tee mentionings. Love what he can get up to. So Pearson Coody, little mention there. Ben Martin's another guy, going to be very popular, playing some good golf, especially, look at this, 10th in the field in recent performances. At $7,100, you're going to be 10% owned. So that's what you get with Ben Martin. Charlie Hoffman, also 8th best course history at this venue. Who's this guy? Lucas Glover. Seems like he's got the best course history in the field. Is that the case? Yeah, it is. Holy cow. So he must have done came second to whoever, or third or fourth. So, this course history for Lucas Glover, it's ball striker's paradise. So let's see some Lucas Glover action going on. That's nice. What's his ownership? $6,900, 3% owned. Yeah, let's go. Lucas Glover, sign us up for that. Ryan Palmer, also some solid course history here in Texas. We like Ryan Palmer's stuff. These are all like course history guys right in this range. Patton Kazaya, also some nice course history at $7,500, 4% ownership. All nice ownership, sitting right underneath Ben Martin, like right around Ben Martin's range, like that. Mishwai Schwab, $6,600 with a very nice course history. Love to see that about him. What about Elsie's game? Around the green play. Bang, look at that. Just love to see the around the green play and the course history correlate like we've been seeing. Scooting down the board, Bo Hassler, great course history at 248th, but Texas guy. Like to see that from Bo. You're going to see 9% ownership at $7,700. Bo Hassler, especially coming in with nothing spectacular to write home about, but lots to like about him in Texas. I don't know if I'm going to go there. Troy Merritt is another guy, $6,700, 1% owned. Love the course history here. The ball striking's been pretty solid on approach, for sure. Very accurate off the tee. The distance is the problem off the tee. Drink. And the weighted approach numbers for Troy Merritt are fantastic. So love the 5 to 15 feet range putting. Troy Merritt, pink him up here, folks. Let's dash him with a bit of pink. Adam Schenk sitting all the way down here. Don't know what his deal is. Recently playing some good golf. Obviously almost won the Valspar. baseline stuff, obviously keeping him way down the mall in 57. So if you're liking some recent form, he's all the way down here, but he's also $8,200, 9% owned. Scooting down the board a little bit more for some other guys I want to mention just quickly off the cuff here. Kevin Tway got some nice course history, 19th in the field, 43rd in recent total strokes gained. Distance is his thing. So he's not necessarily the accurate guy. He's a distance guy. And that's why your par 5 scoring is going to be up 26th in the field. So Kevin Tway is $6,500 if you want to sprinkle him into your lineups. If you're looking for just some ball striking and on the par 5s there, that's what you're going to get. So that's where you make all your birdies. And that's what Kevin Tway does. So he's $6,500 and 26th in par 5 scoring. Who are two other guys that we like here? What are these two dudes? Vincent Norman and Justin Lower, $6,700 and $6,500. Par 5 scorers, for sure. Birdie and birdie bakers. Let's go. Both inside the top 25 in those departments. Love what we're seeing there. Who's this guy? Austin Eckler. So those Vincent Norman, Justin Lower, 67, 65. Let's go 2%, 1%. Bang, bang, bang. Course fits quite nicely, especially for DFS. You want lots of birdies, want the par 5s to generate those points for you. And that's how you're going to be making birdies at this golf course. So if they do that well, you never know what they can get up to in the 6K range. Who else? Look at this guy. He's got the second best par 5 scoring in the field, and his name is Kyle Westmoreland. Kyle Westmoreland, $6,100, folks, and he's the second best par 5 scorer. Yes, we like that. So he's 10th in the field in distance. That makes a lot of sense. Off the tee, 36th. Everything else is very mediocre. So his baseline approach plays 52nd. That's not terrible for a guy that's $6,100. But man, oh man, can he play par 5s? So we like Kyle Westmoreland at $6,100, especially with that par 5 rate. 19th in the field is Jimmy Walker on par 5 scoring, which is very interesting. So check out Jimmy Walker if you want that kind of a thing. And then I think that's about it that I really want to mention for the week. It's been a week. It's been a year. It's been a season. Like the 2023 season has not been friendly to us, folks. So we are waiting for the winds of win to arrive, and we're going to make our way into the winner's circle because Ryder to victory is what we're going to do. So that's what's cooking. A little longer. I got some allergies in the middle of the pod, so I'm like sniffling and sneezing and stuff. But thanks for tuning in. If you're into Rainmakers, folks, please go check out the previous pod I did yesterday with Joel. We're going to be doing those weekly. And the one before that, we got Michael Cavaliunas on there talking about Rainmakers. We did a long-ass podcast there too. So that first 45 minutes will give you all you need to know about Rainmakers. I'm going to be doing an article tonight about Rainmakers. Rainmakers is my thing now because I can't hit outrights. It is what it is. But it's fun. It's like stock market. It's like trading. It's NFTs. It's wangling and dangling, dealing and diming. That whole thing. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. You can do it with pretty much any budget. You can do it with $100 max. And that money is, once you invest it, you don't have to pay to get into contests. Those guys are available for you to use in the contest with any tournament they play in. You only have to roster 5 guys. One of them's a captain. It's awesome. Go check out rotoballer.com. Use code MANIAC if you want to get all of our premium stuff. Check out Spencer's stuff. Check out Joe's stuff. Spencer's been cooking as always. Love what he gets up to over there. Thanks for tuning in, folks. This is Linda Q checking out.